We're back. Welcome to another episode of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationship for Small Business Owners and Entrepreneurs, where we teach you how to build beautiful businesses that allow you to have wonderful lives. I am your host, Sadon Long, best-selling author, and trainer to multiple seven-figure CEOs. And today we are talking about why men cheat and people steal from your businesses. Now, I know that sounds like two real extreme ends of the scope, but really it's not, because whether you're in business or whether you're in a relationship, they're both ships. One is a partnership and the other is a relationship, but they are all ships. So today we're going to talk about why people jumping off the boat, i.e. why people are cheating and why people are stealing, because the reality is, in both cases, if you do not have a successful partnership, relationship, it could set you back 20, 30 years. You get into a relationship with somebody and they cheat on you. Now that's time wasted, time lost. Kids that you got to raise by yourself, bills that you've accrued with this person that you are now going to be held responsible for, whether they're there or not. Time that you could have spent putting towards something else. Same thing with a business. And I talk to self-funded entrepreneurs, people who spent their own hard-earned money to start these businesses, not people who inherited it, but people who getting it out the mud. And if you are spending thousands of dollars to have inventory and you're spending thousands of dollars to keep the lights on, and right now, especially, man, you're talking about heat. You got to heat these stores, so you're spending thousands of dollars. The last thing you want is somebody giving away your merchandise. That can make you want to go to jail. You find out that as fast as you bringing it through the front door, they taking it out the back. Yeah, exactly. So again, we don't want to be in a position where people put us in, opportunities that we can't get out of or that we didn't create for ourselves, especially from a negative standpoint. You didn't make that baby by yourself. He put in on it, you put in on it, so again, we want to be 100% responsible for our actions, but we also want to know how to be responsible. So let's talk about it. Okay, first thing, when we start talking about why men cheat and why people steal from you, is they weren't part of the plan. They did not put in on the plan. Now, before I break it down, I just want to lay some ground rules for this. I've never met a person who wanted to pay for something they didn't want. Typically, when things go wrong, the first thing somebody says is, hey, it ain't my problem. And it's typically not going to be their problem if they didn't put in on the plan. So let me break down what I mean. So let's just look at from a wedding standpoint. And we're talking about why men cheat. So obviously, we're going to talk to the women. So ladies, if you got your dream outcome, you got your dream wedding, you got your dream lifestyle, your dream car, your dream house, and you got your dream identity. Now I am a wife. I am Mrs. Somebody. So you got all these dream things. No different than when somebody opens up a business. They get to be the boss. They get to be a business owner. So you have your dream outcome. Okay. What is it to connect the other person to that dream? Okay. There's the statement that I always make: if it's your vision, it's your victory. So if this was your vision to have the house, the car, the life, and you got all that stuff, what did the other person get? Now it's different when you say our vision, our victory. See, now you can hold someone accountable to their role in the victory. But if it's just my victory, then the other person has no accountability, has no reason to stick around when it goes bad, has no reason to work any harder when it gets tough. So again, if you are getting the dream outcome you want and the other person did not put in or in any way, shape, or form say, hey, this is the outcome I want, then they have no reason to be connected to it. And they honestly are going to say, and tell me if you disagree, yeah, that's your stuff. That's your ish. That's what you wanted. Now you got what you wanted, so you got to live with it. You got to sleep in it. You made that bet. Now, but of course you're going to say, yeah, but they agreed to it. They said yes. Here's the problem with yes, though. Yes is just an automatic response to avoid conflict. I'm going to repeat this one more time. Yes is an automatic response to avoiding conflict. No different than when you were a child and your mother said, did you clean your room? Now, whether you did or not, you were going to say yes. Why? Because if you said no, it was going to create problems. So again, yes is just an automatic negative response. You know, really what you're trying to get in business and any part of your life is to get people to the point where you start saying, are you opposed to this? You know, you want to give them the chance to say no. You know, are you opposed to the idea of me staying home and you working every day? Are you opposed to that idea? And if you do it in the beginning, now they get a chance to say no. You know, but if you say, are you cool with it? Then I don't really feel like being in this disagreement with her. I'm just going to go and let this one go. So yeah, I'm good with it. You right. It's okay. Again, just trying to avoid conflict. Now, maybe somebody's going to say, but they said I do. Okay. True. People say I do all the time. You know, I do, I will, I want. Those are conversations of quitters. I tried, conversations of quitters. See, if somebody says, I tried, then they're already building in that they quit or that they failed. You know, somebody says, I want to be a millionaire. Then if it doesn't work out, well, I wanted it, I just didn't want it bad enough. You know, so again, these are things of quitters. You know, what you really are looking for in a relationship, whether it be business, whether it be pleasure, is people who will. You know, I will is definite. You know, think about the airport. You know, when you need somebody to pick you up or take you to the airport, you don't want them to say, I'll try. You know, you don't want them to say, I will. You want them to say, I will, not I'll try. You know, you don't want them to say, I want to. I want to take you to the airport, because you know what's going to happen. But I want to take you to the airport, but I'll try to take you to the airport, but, you know, so again, you are looking for someone who is saying, I will. You know, can you pick me up from the airport? I will. You know, I'm willing. You know, I will pick you up from the airport. I'll be there. You know, you need someone to give you a definite. And if you don't get a definite, know that you didn't get a definite and make the proper adjustments. Like, hey, that person said, I'll try. That person said, I want to. They never fully committed to the plan. And too many of us, because we want the plan to work so bad, because the benefit is in our favor, overlook all the people who are objecting. You know, overlook all the objections that they're making. You know, they're saying, I'll try. They're saying, I want to, but we keep hearing, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to open a store. I'm going to do these things. We're in definite mode, and they're in maybe mode. Okay. So again, the reason they're in maybe mode is because they didn't put in on a plan. You know, again, like I started this out with, I don't know anybody who commits to something that they didn't sign up for. You know, if you're on your job and they sit down with you and you agree to $5 per month, $5 whatever, $500, 500 hours, 500 phone calls, $5 whatever, and you agree to that, and then they come back and say you didn't do 8, you're going to say, no, I never agreed to 8. I agreed to 5. You know, so you're not going to allow them to hold you accountable to something you didn't agree to. Same thing in everything. You know, same thing in a marriage. If you didn't hold that person accountable to it and they didn't agree to it because you were too busy looking at the end result, they're not going to allow you to hold them accountable to it. They'll say, I never said that. They'll say, I never agreed to that. They'll start looking for ways to back out of it. So again, you have to know early on if this person is willing. I will is a definite. I'll try, I want is not. And people are more willing to do something that there is a benefit for them in. So when you're putting together the roster, when you're putting together the plan, when you're putting together all the people that are going to be involved from a business standpoint, you have to sit back and say, okay, well, what's the win for them? Shout out to Daniel Pink. Daniel Pink says when you are hiring people, the first thing you want to do is make money a non-issue. Now, the reason he says you want to make money a non-issue is so that you can then say that they got what they wanted. You said you wanted 80 grand a year. Okay, now I'm going to hold you to 80 grand worth of work. You said you wanted to get this house. Okay, now I'm going to hold you accountable to making sure that this house stays up and running. Why? Because now you allowed them the opportunity to put in on it. You allowed them the opportunity to get what they wanted. Okay, so now if you want it, are you willing to do what it takes to get it? Okay, so that's just the first part. We're not done, so it's still time to share this with somebody else. It's still time for you to, jump in some comments and make your opinions known. Again, I'm not against them. So, as long as you're respectful. So there's still some time, So when you want to create the plan, the first thing that you do when we're creating a mutually beneficial plan for both of us, whether it be work or whether it be at home, because they're both ships. What you want to do is you want to figure out what we're trying to achieve. Are we just trying to achieve the marriage? Meaning that, hey, we're just trying to get married. So if the goal is just to get married, then, hey, we need to make sure that we get a license. We need to make sure that we get a blood test. We need to make sure that we get, a venue. Okay. But if the goal is to create a partnership that is mutually beneficial and long lasting, then that's what you need to start to build your plan around. When I sit down with a client, the first thing I say is, what kind of lifestyle do you want? Okay. I don't care about the business idea. I don't care about none of that. I want to know what kind of lifestyle you want. And the reason I start with lifestyle is because the business is just a way to achieve the lifestyle. Okay. The marriage is just a way to achieve the lifestyle. Because if you marry somebody who doesn't help you achieve the lifestyle that you want, then you're going to want out of that marriage. And that goes both ways. If you marry someone and you don't end up with the lifestyle you want, now all of a sudden you start looking at that other person saying, yeah, this ain't going to work. I didn't get married to struggle. I didn't get married to be broke. I didn't get married to be yelled at. I didn't get married to be disrespected. So now all of a sudden, that person is saying, I didn't sign up for this. It's time to go. So again, why men cheat and why people steal? Because whatever it is that you promised them, or they insinuated or believed that would be promised, it didn't happen. So when we sit down, what is mutually beneficial to both of us? Okay. Like I said, Daniel Pink says, if it's money, we're going to take money off the table. Now you got the money you want. Okay. So now we're in partnership. I gave you what you wanted. Now I need you to give me what I want. Okay. So that's the first thing off the top. What are we trying to achieve? Now, part two of that, step two, is what are we up against? Okay. What are we up against? What are our obstacles? What are our challenges? Okay. So whenever you're sitting down with an employee or you're sitting down with anybody you're going to be in a relationship with, not only do you want to know where we're going, you also want to know what are we up against? What's going to keep us from reaching our goal? So when you know what we're up against, now you can plan for it. Well, right now we don't make the kind of money we need to make for us to have the lifestyle that we want. So now we know what we're up against. Right now we don't have enough traffic coming through our business to make the kind of money we want. So now we know what we're up against. Okay. So once you know where you're trying to go and you know what's trying to keep you, what's keeping you from getting there, what you can then do is you can build a plan. Okay. Which leads me to the next step. Now, the next step is, hey, what does it take to get what we want? Not what I want, but what we want. Okay. What does it take for us to get what we want? Now, you want money as an employee. I need sales. Because if we don't have sales, guess what? I can't pay you. And if I can't pay you, then you don't get paid. And that's not what you want. Okay. So what it takes for us to do this is for us to be aggressive in our marketing, us to be aggressive in our advertising, us to be aggressive in our prospecting, us to be aggressive in our referrals, so that we can then make sure that we are maximizing every opportunity we have to get a sale. So again, what does it take for us to get what we want? Now, if we're talking about a relationship between a man and a woman, it may be a little bit different because now the goal has changed. Okay. Now, what does it take for us to, in a relationship? Okay. It takes for us to be respectful of one another. It takes for us to both work hard. It takes for us to both keep our business in-house. It takes for us both to be positive with one another. It takes for us to both work hard. So now we start to have some things that we can hold each other accountable to. We can hold each other accountable to what's going on at work. We can hold each other accountable to what's going on at home, because we know that if these areas start to dip, then it's going to keep us from getting the outcome that we want. It's going to keep us from getting the dream outcome that we want. If we're in our 20s, hey, man, we got to work hard. So that means we're going to have to be understanding when another person says that, hey, I got to work Saturday, or I won't be home till 9. Because this is what's going to get us to the next level. This is what's going to get us that house, that car, that vacation. This is what's going to get us those shoes, those outings. This is what's going to provide the lifestyle. So you have to know what it takes. So what are we trying to get to? What are we up against? And what does it take to win? Okay. So now the next step in that, because there's 4, here's the 4th one. What are you willing to do? Because now, again, we need to get some buy-in. We need to get people to sign up. We need to get people to be on the same page about what it is they're willing to contribute to this situation. Because we could want a certain lifestyle, but then the other person's not willing to do the work. You could assume that they were going to do it. You could assume, hey, man, he going to go to work or she going to go to work. And then that person comes home and says, I really hate my job and I don't really want to do it anymore. I think I'm just going to sit here and play video games. Nothing wrong with video games. But if it keeps us from getting where we're trying to go, then that's a problem. So now when that other person comes back to you, whether it be in business or in life, you get to go back and say, but you said this was what you wanted. You knew what we were up against. Okay. And you said that you were willing to do the following. Okay. What has changed? Do you no longer want it? So now you see why we have to have this buy-in, why we have to have both parties mutually agreed and agreeing to something they both want that is mutually beneficial. Because now you get to go back and say, you sat down with me, we discussed this, we agreed to this, and you said that this was what you wanted. And that you were not opposed to doing the work. Okay. See? Not opposed to doing the work. You had no problem with the work. You didn't just say yeah, because, again, yeah is just the automatic response designed to avoid conflict. Yeah, I want a big house. Yeah, I want a big car. Yeah, I want to go on vacations. But are you opposed to doing the work? Because if you're opposed to doing the work, then we probably won't get those things. See, a lot of times you have these highly driven people who do all these wonderful things, and the people who want to be married to them have no drive whatsoever. They just want a dream wedding. They just want a dream car. They just want a dream house. But they don't really want to participate in the things that make it work. You have women out here who are grinding, and guys who just want a man cave, and they want to watch videos and porn and play video games and drink and smoke and distract themselves. So now one person's working really, really hard and the other person's not. So then when you go try to hold him accountable, he looks at you like, man, whatever. Because he got what he wanted. But you didn't get what you wanted. And he never agreed to give you what you wanted. So now you stuck. So you got to figure out how to get out of this situation as soon as possible so that you can then find someone who is willing to work with you, who is not opposed to doing the work. He was cool with the marriage because he was going to get what he wanted. But he was never willing to give you what you wanted. And remember, people very seldom want to pay for stuff that they don't want. No win in it for them. If there's no win in it for them, there's no reason for them to give you anything towards it. Your vision, your victory. So now, as a human being, man or woman, what you got to do when you're sitting down on the other side of the table as a business owner, as a person who's dating, whatever, what you got to do when you're sitting on the other side of the table, you have to decide, does this person give me the best chance of achieving what it is that I want? Does this person give me the best chance? Because if that person doesn't give you the best chance to achieve what you want, why are you investing all this time and energy in? You look at sports, and I know people, don't really like to equate sports and relationships and sports and business, but sports is probably the most honest thing on the planet. The better your players, the better your opportunity to win. Especially if those players are focused on winning as much as you are. Okay. If you have Michael Jordan, hey, all of a sudden you're a lot better. Why? Because Mike wants to win as bad as you do. If you have Kobe Bryant, you all of a sudden become a better coach because Kobe wants to win as bad as you do. Same thing with LeBron James. He wants to win as bad as you do. So therefore, he's going to work without you having to tell him to. He's going to come in over-prepared, which now is going to make the plan that much easier to execute and the lifestyle that much easier to achieve. So when you're sitting down with someone, are you sitting down with someone that you can win with? Or are you sitting down with somebody you can't win with? I like her, she's attractive, but she ain't got the type of work ethic that I need in order to be successful. I like him, he good looking, but he doesn't have the type of temperament and patience to be financially disciplined for us to achieve our goals. Sexy though, like his bed, but man, he spend money too crazy for me. We're trying to build something long term, and I can't build it with you. So now, why am I entering into something with a person who I know in the beginning isn't the right person? If they're constantly blaming, here's a huge red flag. If they're constantly blaming other people for the reason they haven't achieved in the past, when they don't achieve it this time, they're just gonna blame you. Okay. Maybe mama never told you that before, but if you sit down with someone who is constantly blaming other people for their failures, if they get with you, when they fail the next time, you're going to be the person they blame. You didn't talk to them right. You didn't show them enough attention. You didn't believe in them. You weren't there for them. So if you're sitting down with that person and you're sitting across from them, whether in business or in dating, they're going to blame you. So that is a huge red flag. That one wasn't in my notes, but hey, it came up, so that means God wanted you to have it. And remember, your success is directly aligned to the people you pick. If you pick poorly, you're going to get a poor result. If you pick poor salespeople, you're going to have poor sales results. If you pick lazy people, then you're never going to be able to have the type of well-oiled machine that you want. Your grass will never be pristine. Your house will never be clean. Your bills will not be paid on time. Because these are the kinds of people that make you fail. Lazy people who don't take accountability will always make you fail if you are in partnership with them. So again, you have to pick right. You have to make sure that the goals are aligned. You have to make sure that they are getting something that they're comfortable committing to, and not just verbally, but with their work, with their efforts, with their emotions, so that they are now more driven to make sure that it's succeeded. Because there has to be an emotional connection as well. Like, I got to be emotionally connected to these wins. Because that's what's going to get me up at 4:30 in the morning. Not just the logical side of it, like, hey, I know this, we're saving for a house, but hey, I know that we really trying to get out of this neighborhood because I don't want my son to end up in a gang. I don't want my daughter to end up getting kidnapped and sex trafficked. So yeah, I agree with you. We do need a better house. We do need to be in a better school district. We do need to be in a better situation. So now I'm committed to what needs to be done. So when that person goes to work, man, they pedal to the metal all day long. So if you're sitting across the table from that person and you see that person's mental capacity and conviction and effort level is high, and they're putting it on their back and saying, hey, I know I got to come in here and kick butt every day because this is what's going to help my family. Yeah, that's the person you want to hire. Hands down. Every day of the week. They got something to lose and they don't want to lose it. Okay, so part 2. The second reason men cheat and people steal from you on your job is that you stop looking at them. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. The second reason men cheat and people steal from you is you stop looking at them. So now, there's an old saying in business that says people expect what you inspect. Inspect what you expect. I'm going to say it one more time. There's an old business saying that says, expect what you inspect. So if you stop looking at the people, now all of a sudden, there's room for error. Now, I don't mean in like a creepy way. I mean that if people stop feeling seen, if people stop feeling heard, if people stop feeling noticed and appreciated, then all of a sudden, doubt can creep in. I heard in church one time, that the wicked love the night. The wicked love darkness. Because now they're doing things when nobody can see them doing them. So again, if you stop shining light on your partner or on your employees, then they're in darkness. And things can happen in the dark that you don't see. Things can happen when you're not looking that can affect the rest of your life, that can keep you from reaching your goals, keep you from reaching your plan, keep you from having your lifestyle, keep you from having your identity, of a successful business owner or a person in a happy marriage or a person who is able to have freedom, and wealth and joy and peace. If you're a person who wants joy and peace, but you're in a relationship with somebody who's not running the same race that you're running at the same speed that you're running it at, now you're going to have to keep looking back. If you keep looking back, then all of a sudden you're going to trip. No, the goal wasn't to trip. The goal was to run the race smooth and efficiently. So now what it requires for you to do is not be a watchdog or a nag. It requires that you tap in and take temperatures. Okay, one more time. It is going to require that you tap in and take temperature. So when you tapping in and taking the temperature, here's what that looks like. On a scale of 1 to 10, excluding 6 and 7, how are you feeling about the progress that we're making? 1 being not good, 10 being very good. So one more time, on a scale of 1 to 10, excluding 6 and 7, how positive or how are you feeling about the progress that we're making? Okay. So now when you sit down with that person, it's not about you, it is about the progress. Okay. It is not about you. It is not on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about me? It is on a scale of 10, how do you feel about the progress we're making? Because you could hate the coach but love the progress. And if you love the progress, you'll keep the coach. I don't really like you, but I like the benefit of being with you, which is going to keep me loyal to you because I don't want to lose what we got. People, listen to what I just said. I may not always like you. Times you get on my nerves. Times you make me mad. But I love the progress that we're making. And I don't want to lose you because you are helping me achieve my goals. You go back and you look at grandma now. Some of our grandmothers are older than others, so depending on your age, it might be your great grandmother. Those men were mean. Or at least we perceived them to be mean. But at the same time, grandmas hung in there with them, with their little grumpy old man selves. You know why? Because they kept their word. Why? Because they did everything that we agreed was going to get done. I told you I was going to make sure you never had to want for nothing. You don't want for nothing. I told you them kids was going to be good and they was going to have an opportunity to go to college, and they got an opportunity to go. Okay, I told you that if anything broke in this house, I'd fix it. And then grandma in turn said, I told you that I'd always make sure you was okay, that you was always good, that you always had food on the table, and you always had clean clothes, and you had empty sacks. If you know what I mean. So they both agreed to it. They submitted to the plan, even though they didn't always get along with each other. He wasn't always as nice as she wanted. She wasn't always as sweet as he wanted. But what they could never say is that the other person lied to him. One thing you could say is, we never lied to you, Jack. So again, they kept their word. But what you have to do in today's society is, because there's way more stuff being factored into the relationship, because there's way more stuff for people to have to sift through, is you got to do the temperature check. How are you feeling about the progress we're making? Okay. Now the next thing is, what do you think we could do to make it more effective? Not what do you think I could do. What do you think we could do to make it more effective? What do you think we could do? Well, we probably could save a little bit more money. We need to maybe cut down on some spending in this area. Because we're a team, so it's not an I. There is no I in team. We maybe need to cut down on expending. We need to find, a way to, get this gas bill down a little bit. Because last month we spent $400 on gas and light. So now we put together a plan that says, hey, we're going to start turning the lights off. We're going to get us a space heater and basically become a slumlord to ourselves so that we can save $100 on the light and gas and put that 100 towards something else. But we're agreeing to it. Okay. So then the next question, and here's the next question. And what else? The magic question is, and what else? Now, the reason I say you have to ask, and what else, is because of automatic negative thought responses. Okay, again, like when people say, yeah, it's already pre-programmed, I want to avoid pain, so I'm just going to say yeah. Same thing with everything. We have these automatic responses that we already have pre-programmed. So like when people talk about dating, it's always piss in the pool. People talk about work, ain't no good employees, people don't want to work no more. So there are always responses that we have programmed that we have to get past to get to the truth, so that we can then solve the right problem. Because again, it might not be the employees, it might be traffic. I got great employees, we just ain't got nobody coming in the store. So if I'm on the employees when the real problem is that, hey, we need to spend more time promoting when we open, now that gives me the opportunity to focus on the right thing and get the right result. So when you're sitting down with that person, how comfortable are you with the progress we're making? Because if the person's not comfortable with the progress, they're going to check out. If the person doesn't have any complaints, then you can come back and say, hey man, I gave you an opportunity to tell me what was going on, and you told me that everything was good. Okay, which goes to that automatic response. Okay, you told me everything was good. I said, and what else? Okay, now I give you a second opportunity to say everything's not good. Okay. So now when a person tells you what could happen in the relationship to make it more effective, you say why. Why? Okay. Challenge it. Not in a negative or a punitive way, but why? Why do you think that if we cut the heat down to 68 and got a space heater, that would help us? Because that would give us an extra $100 a month that we could then put toward the car note, which will now help us pay the car off faster, which will cut the interest down to zero. So basically we'll be paying principal and then the cars will be paid off. Plus it's only for 3 months. Okay, so now you understand. So where there's understanding, there can be execution. Where there's understanding, there can be execution. So the next piece of this puzzle is, what role do you see me playing in it? My father used to listen to a song, it says, you don't have to be a star, baby, to be in my show. Okay, so again, what role do you see me playing? How do I fit in this plan? Okay, so now you know what the other person is thinking. And if you really sit down with people and you start chopping it up with them like this, you'll start to really understand who you should and shouldn't be with. What role do you see me playing? Oh, I see you being the one that makes all the sacrifices. Now, some people might be cool with that. I see you being the one to drive an old car. I see you being the one who have to take a side lunch. I see you being the one who never gets any new stuff. I see you being the one to do all that, and I see me being the one that does all the fun stuff. I get to take the kids out. I get to, hoop with my friends or whatever. You're gonna be at home cleaning. So you need to know what role the other person sees you playing in this, so that you can then decide if that's the role you want. So again, we got to tap in and temperature check. And my recommendation, it all depends on your partner, but my recommendation is that you have weekly and monthly check-ins. Now, your weekly check-ins are about information and knowing what's going on. What do we have coming up this week and how did it go? Okay, because when you're really in partnership with somebody, you know what's going on. Again, it goes back to what are we up against? You start to notice a pattern if you know what's going on and you have information. So the weekly check-in is about information. She has a project due on Wednesday. Okay, cool. She has a project due on Wednesday. It's Sunday. Okay, so what does that mean for us? Oh, that means I'm probably going to be at work late on Tuesday. Okay, cool. That means I got to make dinner for the kids. Okay, that means I need to call my mom and tell my mama to pick them up. Okay. that means you're not going to be here. So I need to adjust my mind that you're not going to be here. You're going to be at work. Okay, I know what's going on. Oh, okay, cool. Sunday, my auntie having a party. How you feel about that? Well, I got to work a double on Friday. Well, the store's going to be open late because it's the holidays. So now, this short-term thing, how important is it? Is it more important than me getting rest? Is it more important than our long-term goals? Okay. So, I worked 3 days in a row. Your auntie having a party, but I'm exhausted. Is me showing up important enough to then put that on the schedule? Because if it's not, then there's no need for us to argue. Because it's not about auntie's party. It's about how it affects our long-term goals. So, again, these things are important. So we need to tap in and take temperature on them every week. How is work going? You up for a review? How did your review go? Okay. How are you feeling about the progress you're making on your job? Do you think maybe we need to start, putting together some resumes? You think maybe we need to start talking to some people about maybe trying to figure out another avenue to get where we're trying to go because this job thing ain't really working out? So now there should be monthly check-ins. Okay. Now your monthly check-ins are about progress. Okay. So your monthly check-in is about progress. How are we trending toward our goal? Is our plan working? How much have we actually accomplished? That is what the monthly check-in is about. So if you're sitting down with your spouse, it might be how are we doing on the bills? Are we paying off the credit cards? Are we, making sure that we don't have anything coming up that's going to incur a late fee or get cut off? How are we doing with looking for some alternatives to, some of these things that we are dealing with, whether it be high light and gas or whether it be, high internet or cable? How are we doing on the alternatives? Oh, well, I called the people the other day and, they got us in this new program and it saved us some money. Okay, cool. So now it's about progress. Same thing when you go to work. How are we doing on the progress? Because if we never inspect the thing that we expect to see, then we'll never see it. Well, since we implemented this, things have gotten better. Since our last sit down, this is what I've done. Okay. So now those people are more engaged. And it has been my experience that most of the time when you are engaged with someone and you're telling them how good they're doing, you're monitoring their progress, you're showing them appreciation, you're keeping the light on them, they won't steal. They won't cheat. They won't betray you. Because betraying you is like betraying themselves. And on the backside of that, when something doesn't work, it's not a surprise. So because it's not a surprise, now there is no reason to get overly emotional about it. There's no reason to be overly emotional when you see the way we're trending. Again, this is what we're up against. This is what we're trying to get to. So now, if we see that it's not working and we have to pivot, we knew that pivot was coming. We knew that shift, that change was coming. We knew that we weren't going to be able to take that vacation. We knew that we weren't going to be able to buy a new car. So now there's no reason for a person to go to you and be upset with you and say, well, you said and you promised and you said. Because we both knew where we were headed. We both knew what we were into. We both knew what we were up against. And we both saw that we were working very hard toward it. So now it becomes, man, it's not your fault. So why am I holding you accountable to it? Because it's not your fault. We're solving the wrong problem. The problem isn't me or you. The problem is we keep letting other people in our business. The problem isn't me or you. The problem is that we need more money. The problem isn't me or you. The problem is that, hey, I stopped getting overtime. One of the coolest, 50 Cent videos I've ever seen is when he talks about his grandfather. And he says that his grandfather always gave his grandmother the whole check. He said, and I would always ask my grandfather, like, why you come home and you give her the whole check? He's like, because I wanted to know what we got. She could never complain about something if she has all the information. Because now she knows why she can't get those shoes. And she knows what we accomplished with the money we had. Now, I don't have enough money to get these shoes, but we got food in the refrigerator. All our bills are paid. We got money in our 401k. We got money in our Christmas account. We got a little bit of money toward our vacation. So, yeah, can't get those shoes. But look at all the things I do have. Okay. And if something does happen, it doesn't have to be punished. It doesn't have to be punitive. It doesn't have to be angry and disrespectful and distasteful. You don't have to have a yelling match on the floor. And in those situations, what you want to do is you want to be a challenger. Because, see, that is different than punishment. See, punishment is about shame. You're a bad person. You're stupid. Not that you did a stupid thing. Not that you made a poor decision. But about you being in some way broken. You being in some way insufficient. You being in some way defective. See, that's what punishment is about. Okay, and when a person says that you're stupid, man, that hits you at your core. Because now they're trying to make you feel ashamed. Now, when you challenge someone, that's about me believing in you. That's about me saying, is this really your best? Or do you think you can do better? And it's not my decision to make. It's your decision to make. I challenge you to be the best version of you. I challenge you to come up with some ways that you could improve. Not, you're stupid, you're lazy, but, man, you're better than this. I know you're better than this. So what do you think you could do to make this work? What do you think you could do to ensure that we had the money that we needed? And with that being said, what role do you see me playing in it? Well, in an employee to employer situation, hell, it might be more training. It might be more resources. But the reality is, the worst thing on the planet is a lazy person asking for more resources. So if we are at a point where we've identified that it is about effort, then we're solving the wrong problem. Like, we got enough resources. You just ain't working hard enough. Same thing in a marriage. I mean, you want people in a marriage who don't appreciate you to give you more time. So again, what role do you want me to play in this? Because sometimes when you're sitting down with that man, it could just simply be, man, I just need you to give me a minute. I just need you to trust me on this one. I just need you, to maybe, cut back on your spending for a couple months. So now when you start talking about making progress, we're checking the progress. We know that we're trying to progress in the right areas. We're tapping in, we're checking in with each other about a plan that we both helped create, so that there are no surprises, good or bad. We know that we both been putting in the work, and now I don't have to feel bad, because we both been putting in the work. Okay? And that is how you build a bond with somebody. That is how you become connected. That is how you have a real relationship with somebody, a brotherhood, because a friendship, because now we're both working toward the same thing. We both respect the amount of work that the other person has put in. We both are fully aware of what we're up against, and we can monitor how well we're progressing and what effort we're putting in, because we're checking in, we're tapping in. See, when people start cheating and betraying you, is because they don't feel like whatever they do matters. If you're a man at home and you know, hey man, if I go out here and I mess this up, it's gonna mess it up for everybody. It ain't gonna just mess it up for me. It's gonna mess it up for the wife. It's gonna mess it up for the kids. Everything is going to go haywire if I screw this up. You're less likely to screw it up. And if that person you're in partnership with knows that you're working hard and appreciates the hard work you put in and is working with you, and you like the progress you're making, why would you then mess that up? Because now I am forfeiting a person that's going to help me get the lifestyle, help me get the identity, help me get the peace and joy that I want for somebody who can't. Remember a long time ago, somebody told me that, if a man cheats with a woman that is better than his wife, he is essentially looking for a replacement. But if he cheats with a woman who is less than his wife, he is simply out having fun. And my response to that was like, why isn't his wife any fun? Why can't he have fun with his wife? Okay. So again, part of the reason people can't have fun with their partners is because they're choosing the wrong partners. Because we're not putting together the plan and we're not both agreeing to the work that it takes to reach the goal that we're trying to reach, then it is a huge possibility that we're not going to get there. And if we're not going to get there, then there's going to be problems. So for my ladies who are watching this, who happen to be both business owners, and people in relationships or people who want to be in relationships, you really have to sit down and evaluate the person across the table from you and say, are they capable of the things that we are talking about? Because a lot of people are dreamers, but not workers. So even if he's talking a good game, or even if she's talking a good game, depending on, whether it's employment or relationship or what kind of relationship you're in, you have to then say, are you opposed to the work? Because if you're opposed to the work, then it'll never happen. Do you have a track record of the things that make this possible? Tell me about your other relationships. Tell me about your past experiences. And if you start seeing those people blaming everybody else, then what you know is that if this fails, they're going to blame me. They're going to be out in the street telling people that I didn't treat them right, that I didn't love them enough, that I didn't do enough. But if you have the plan in place and you constantly tapping in and taking temperature, then it won't get to that. You'll start to see, hey man, this person said, 6 months ago that this was what they wanted, and we agreed that this was the path to get there based on what we were up against. And now every week I check in, I keep finding their part is undone. And even when I challenge them to do better, for themselves and for us, they didn't. So now when we get to the, it's time to go point, it's no surprise. We can both look at each other and say, yeah, this is not working. So now we need to part ties. Because we've done everything that we could do to ensure that this was mutually beneficial for both of us. I gave you what you wanted, and this is what I wanted in return, and you have not met the goal. You have not done the things to meet the goal. You are not even close to meeting the goal, and you're not even doing any of the things that necessarily will help you reach that goal. And now beyond a shadow of a doubt, because you have all the information in front of you, that it's time to go. So you don't stick around long enough for somebody to cheat on you. You don't employ somebody long enough for them to start stealing from you. Because the only way they get to cheat or steal is that they have the opportunity. But if you're constantly tapping in, checking in, monitoring and inspecting and challenging, when you see something wrong or something that's not going the way that it needs to go for you to reach the goals that you both have agreed to, then it doesn't happen. Because we never get to a point where a person doesn't feel seen. We never get to a point where you don't know what's going on with that person from week to week. We never get to a point where you don't know if it's going bad or not. Shout out to Usher. Everything we doing is going all bad. He got a chick in the ride, because it's all bad. But it's all bad, so now you can start to make some type of adjustment. If a person says, man, I'm right now, I'm just struggling. Okay, and what else? Oh, and I really haven't felt well in, man, like 2-3 weeks. Okay, why? Well, I don't really know. I mean, when I get up in the morning, I just don't want to do nothing. Okay, well, what can I do to help? Well, I mean, ain't nothing really you could do. Okay, well, what do you think we should do? Well, I think maybe I need to make a doctor's appointment. Okay, well, cool. When you gonna make it? You gonna make it today? You gonna make it tomorrow? So now you come back 2-3 weeks later and you say, how you feeling? How did the doctor's visit go? Well, I didn't make it. Well, why? You said you weren't feeling well. Are you feeling better now? Well, actually, I'm not. So now whatever comes with that can no longer be a surprise. Because that they understand what's going on. That they said they were going to do it. That they didn't do it. So now, because they didn't do it, that, hey, there's probably some negatives that are about to come out of this. We're about to have some ED. We're about to have some diabetes. We're about to have some high cholesterol. Might be on the path to having a stroke. Because we're not monitoring it. So if it's not monitored, then it is inevitable that it is going to get away from you. No different than when we get on the scale. If we're looking at this weight on a regular basis, then it's impossible for us to gain 30, 40 pounds. Because when we got up to 3 or 4, we knew, oh man, I'm up 3-4 pounds. What's going on with that? And now it gives you the opportunity to do something about it. But if you're never inspecting what you expect, then it just goes awry. Wise pastor said one time, if you don't know the purpose for something, abuse is inevitable. Again, if you do not know the purpose for something, abuse is inevitable. If you don't know what you're supposed to do in a relationship with your partner, abuse is inevitable. If you don't know your role as an employee or as a business partner, a strategic partner, abuse is inevitable. Because now you don't know what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and you don't know how to grade your progress. Okay. So again, that is why men cheat and people steal. Okay. Go back, run this all over again, share it with somebody, discuss it, tear it apart, leave stuff in the comments, talk bad about me if you disagree. I am okay with that. Okay. It is just part of being the messenger. Okay. And as always, man, it's your business, big bro, Sadon Long, aka the most dangerous man in marketing. And if you have any questions, concerns, or issues regarding your business, you can also leave those in the comments or you could DM me. But what I would prefer is if you go to growningrich.com, click the Make Money Fast button. What is going to happen? They're going to send me an email. And then I'm going to send you an email. And we're going to set up a time. We're going to discuss everything that has to do with your business. From your marketing, to your sales, to your people, to your goals, and anything else that can help you build a beautiful, wonderful business that allows you to have a great life. And anything that you get during that call, you get to use and you get to keep. And the call is on me. It is not free. It is on me. Because I've already paid for all this information. I've already spent the time with the entrepreneurs. I've already done the work. So I paid the cost for the work already, so you don't have to. So make that a priority this week to get over to growningrich.com and click that button so that you can have a call with me. Again, why wouldn't you want to have a call with somebody who's generating millions of dollars? For small business owners just like you, and who's also helped multiple people win Businesswoman of the Year, Emmys, awards from LinkedIn, as well as the best-selling author of a book that was #1 in Christian education and business coaching and mentoring in multiple countries. Why wouldn't you want that? I mean, what do you have to lose? I mean, to me, it sounds like an offer that you can't refuse. So again, man, until the next time, it has been an honor and a blessing to be in your presence and have your attention. So I will not misuse it or abuse it now or ever. So have a great Sunday. Have a wonderful week. As always, I love you. I'm out.